Oh boy. Damn avatar's not showing up. I don't remember how to put that avatar on there. I don't know why it ever even showed up, why it ever even came off. Finn Larson says Feliz Año Nuevo. Okay, Felix. That's a Año Nuevo. I think you mixed a name with one Spanish word and one Italian word. That's cool. Mr. Goyo. Órale, ¿qué hubo, Big Lou? I send mine. Yay, yay. Mr. Goyo. What's happening? I seen you today over there on the what you call it? The Gabe Morales. Is it Gabe Morales? Gabe Morales. I think his first name is Gabe Morales. The roll call. I think I seen you over there today on the G's. I think they're on the G's.
Looked at the account.
Oops. Yeah, I can't figure out why my on games to steal. This is it. The seal on games to seal. On games the seal. I don't know what you mean. Or maybe you might be saying CO. Yeah, he was a CO here, and then he was a CO at like a county jail or something, wasn't he? I believe so. Muggsy Siegel. So I dropped a video today. It was my first video that I dropped in a video, because I've been doing like shorts all along, but I haven't done no videos. And I dropped a pre-recorded video about, I don't know, maybe an hour ago or something like that. In the thumbnail, it's Michael Francis and Joey Berlino. And you know, a lot of people's already touched that subject, about him calling Sonny, a rat, or he ain't no better than you. You're a rat, and he's what did he say? He's hanging out with you, picking you up from prison, and blah blah blah. Which, I don't know. I go watch. I think everybody should go watch the video, because I kind of I kept it to a minimum because I wanted to be ready for this live tonight. So I kind of touched it somewhat, and I also, when you guys watch the video, you'll see that I say from a convict's perspective, from my point of view, and Goyo can attest to this too. We're schooled a certain way over here in California, and it doesn't matter if you're white or one of the Latino, clicas. You don't. There's no reason for you to have to be always letting it be heard and known that you can't stand rats, and that's a given. That goes without saying. You know what I'm saying? That goes without saying. So it's and then if we're in the hole, say we're in AdSeg, we're in the oil, which oil means hole in Spanish. Some people will say the back, or they'll say the shoe. They'll say different things, but you can't even acknowledge those people. You already know that if you see him and you're able to get to him, then you handle your business. And I brought up that I can't say Sonny a rat. View. Oh yeah, and then not to mention Maureen Moe, Beck's bullies. Ooh, we got bullies. I still got 2 puppies left. Man, I got 2 puppies left. They're 4 months old. I sold one a couple of days ago. I got 1 female, 1 male left. But anyways, come to find out, and it goes. How much you believe on some of these guys. Some of these guys that cooperated, and now they have channels and they're telling stories about being in Queens, New York, Howard Beach, or in Brooklyn, Bensonhurst, or in Bath Beach, or the Bronx, or Philly, or Boston. You got all these different cats, right? And I like to listen to their stories. You know what I mean? Because we ain't gonna get the stories from no righteous dudes in that life that are in good standing still. You know what I mean? And a lot of the stories that are spoken about people, they've already passed. You know what I mean? So, for example, what's his name? John Gotti's brother. Him and his crime crime partner, co-defendant, John Koenig, they just got out not too long ago, right? Maybe 3 years now. On a 50-year sentence, they did almost 30 years. You can't go to them and again, they're going to say, oh, yeah, well, Sammy's telling partly the truth, but he's bullshitting on this and that, right? And I used to always say, you know, Patsy Conte ain't going to talk. Jackie Knowles ain't going to talk. And I used to say Tommy Gambino ain't going to talk. Now, since then, Tommy Gambino passed away a couple of weeks ago. Jackie Knowles just died last week. You know what I mean? So all these old timers are going. Vinny Asaro died, 2 months ago or so? You know, all these old timers are going. So these stories that, you know, like Sammy, he's trying to change history and you know what I mean? And he's just so full of shit, especially when he tries to talk like he's a righteous, like he's telling the story like he's in the joint and he's around all righteous dudes. You know what I mean? He's talking like he's on a regular line with guys, you know, and he carries himself a certain way and, you know, and they like him because he carries, you know, and he's speaking like there's a whole bunch of this over there and a whole bunch of that over there. The dude, you know, he's on you know, everybody's, you know, in bad standings with their people, you know, majority of the people there. Now, I'm pretty sure there's some guys that go there that ain't, you know, they're not considered a threat. You know, they're not a gang, you know, they're not with no gangs. You know, they might have just got caught up with some, you know, white collar crime or something, computer stuff. You know what I mean? Something like that. And they don't feel that, you know, those dudes are going to go and try to get Sammy or get Corn Fed or get Fat Cat Nichols or get, you know, any of them dudes or any of the Italian cats. You know what I mean? So, you know, but if you listen to them, you know, I got 22 years in prison. It's like you got 5 at the motherfucking FBI headquarters. You know what I mean? You got 5 over there. You know, where they're taking you in town to eat dinner with your wife and they're taking you in town to get haircuts and shit like that. I've never been to a pen. They do that for me. You know what I mean? I've been to like 10 prisons, 12 prisons. I've been to like 10, I think. 8, 10, 12, something like that. You know, and then when he went back that last time, in my opinion, I believe he threw the kids under the bus and then he seen that the government wasn't playing as far as they really wanted his ass because he made them look stupid for giving him such a, you know, sweetheart deal, you know what I mean? And then he does what he does, you know? And then, so he said that he, I would grab them all from you, but when I was a kid. Yeah. So, you know, he ended up saying that, you know, basically they wanted him bad and, you know, he had to take a deal that would, you know, cut his son-in-law's time down to 9 years. Daughter and wife would get probation. You know what I mean? But I've heard some of the wiretap phone calls with him though. You know, he's trying to say that he's talking to his wife and he's asking for 50,000 hammers. It's like, why would you, if you're asking for, because you guys are in business together as a husband and wife or ex-husband and wife, what do you need to call dollars hammers for? You know, so he tries to talk slick, but he ain't slick. You know, he's really dumb when, you know, in my opinion, he's dumb. And I, you know, when it comes to that, you know what I'm saying? Trying to sound like he's slick or something, like he knows what he's doing when it comes to all that. But anyways, back to what the video that I did, you know, Joey Merlino was, I heard Anthony Ruggiano say before that his dad, Fat Andy, was with Joey Merlino at one of the institutions and that they had some business going on. And I think it was something for Anthony, something with a produce or something. And then if you look at some of the pictures that are on the Google, there's a ton of pictures with Sonny Francis and Fat Andy together. So that means Joey Merlino was there too. And I know that for a fact because people have seen the pictures with Joey Merlino and Sonny. You know, and Sonny was straight gangster, man. I mean, you know, the part that, I mean, and Joey does have a valid point with not calling Sonny a rat, but saying that uh, saying that Sonny knew that his son was no good, both his sons, and he was, around them. That, I mean, that is valid, but the man was over 100 years old by that time. You know what I'm saying? Because, and anybody here that knows something that I'm missing, far as I know, from everything I've read and heard and everything, when Michael stepped away, that was in the pretty much the late 80s, right? He went down on 10 years in the late 80s. And he makes it sound like too that his dad was on that last war, that his dad was asking him to come back to New York and side up with the Persicles, right? From my understanding, and they say this too, is that Junior Persicle put a contract out on him, right? And that his dad just went along with it. You know what I mean? So it's like your dad went along with it, but I mean, how could he not go along with it? I mean, you're talking about the boss, right? The boss put it out there. I mean, what's your dad? Even if your dad was the underboss at that time, which he wasn't, I don't believe, he became the underboss again a second time. He was the underboss in the 60s, and then he was underboss again in the early 2000s, right, when he caught that last case. He just, he went along with it because he didn't try to push back on it. So now if he did try to push back on it, what would happen? He would get probably, possibly whacked for being, in subordination. Even maybe some treason, or it would have been another internal war with the Colombos, which that's what they do. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't happen that way. Be back, phone call. All right. So, it didn't happen that way. But, that was some proof right there that, Sonny was business about this when he believed in this stuff wholeheartedly, and that's a real gangster. You know what I mean? When you take an oath and you through thick and thin, no matter what happens to your real blood family, you're still going to stick with this thing, this thing that you took, this, this entity of CN, you know what I mean? And even Michael said that he told him, like on the second or third violation, he said, come on to California with me. Or no, I think he said move to Florida or something. And his dad wouldn't leave New York. You know what I mean? And he kept getting picked up on violation just for like consorting with known felons and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, and I explained also about 1967, he lost the trial that they said he was the mastermind of the banks was 1967. Well, back then you were able to fight you can file your appeals from the street. Nowadays it's not like that. Nowadays you got to go inside and start filing appeals from inside. So he lost in trial in 1967, and he didn't actually turn himself in until 1970. Correct. He did get 50 years sentence, but he didn't do 50 years, right? He got released. He got released in 78 or 79, right? So he did about 8.5, 9 years, something like that. But the way that feds work is his sentence was 50. So that means he's got all that time that he can, catch violations, and that time is off that, it's from that 50. So he caught, like, I don't know, maybe Mikey might know, maybe Muggsy might know this answer. I'm not sure. I can't remember if he did 4 violations or 5 violations on that first 50-year sentence that he got, which I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, he put in about 30 years on that 50, spread out though, you know what I mean, on violations. And then he caught that last one when his son was wearing the wire on him, and he did another 7-8 years on that. So Sonny, I believe he did a total of about 37 years altogether, 38 years. That dude wouldn't even open his mouth. Even when the lady went and interviewed him and talked to him, I seen those videos. I got the book too. And even when she asked him what is omerta, what is that? And he's like, well, what's that? He's like, I don't know, what's that? And then, the parts I seen him, her kind of press him a little bit on, like, who was this, who was that? He wouldn't tell nobody's business. He wouldn't speak up and say that, he wouldn't let any of that out. You know what I'm saying? And so what I was getting to about all that, about Michael picking him up and all that, by that time when his father got out, he was 100 years old, right? He had a bum leg. He had some health issues. You know, just like that lady said, when she was on, I seen her on somebody's channel a couple of times. The lady that wrote the book, Sandra, I think her name is Sandra Petty. She said, "Well, what was he supposed to do? What was Sonny supposed to do when John Jr. popped up over there? You know, whoop his ass? I mean, he probably could have fired on him a couple of times, but you know, he was more like shocked and you know what I mean? He was probably more, I don't know, more shocked that he was there because he says that he started looking around, you know what I mean? Then again, you know, these dudes, they say anything to make their story sound better. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you guys ever notice, a lot of these dudes, when they talk, man, they're always the hero in their stories. You know what I mean? I saved this one, I saved that one. You know, if it wasn't for me there, this, you know, dude would have been done in, blah, blah, blah. Sonny did 50 years, which was supposed to be life sentence, but he outlived the judge who sentenced it. Oh, he outlived everybody. He outlived everybody because the prosecutor's kids were on that documentary. You know what I mean? And they were talking about, too, that kids, I believe it was the kids, or it might have been his coworker who was young at the time, was talking about how obsessed the DA was with Sonny to put him away. You know what I mean? And then, you know, and then I believe that South Police's uncle went down with I think he got busted in that too. What's up, Yanks? But no, then that man did his time, you know, and like I'm saying is when that contract supposedly was put out for Mike, Sonny didn't try to mess with it. He let it just ride, you know. And I don't believe they had a relationship back then during this time. He was upset with Michael for walking away. You know what I mean? And then I think, you know, at some point, at being an old man like he was, so at some point they reconciled their you know what I'm saying? They reconciled their relationship. You know what I mean? But like I said, by that time, Sonny Francis was 100-year-old. He paroled at 100 years old. He was the oldest inmate, you know what I mean? Federal inmate. And then he passed away, 3 years later, I think. You know, but then on the flip side, you got old boy on here, and he's on a podcast talking about, you know, things he's done. I don't really remember him saying no. I watched a few of the shows. I don't remember him saying nobody's names. I think I did hear him say a couple of names on the armed truck robbery one. And then obviously Angelo's name, but then Angelo was on the show too. You know what I mean? So I mean, he's talking about his own crimes. I mean, you know, but you know, I mean, you're not supposed to talk. You know, you're not supposed to talk. But look at everything's changed nowadays. You know, all the allocutions and stuff. What's up, man? Ordo. All the you know, look at all these allocutions that these people are doing. You know what I'm saying? You know, are you a member of Cosa Nostra? Yes, Your Honor. You know, but you guys, those have been in court and had you know, have took a plea deal. The judge will start off asking you like, is it true that this is the deal you want to take? Yes. Has anybody offered you anything or promised you anything for taking this plea deal? No. Are you under the influence or anything? Then, you know, they ask you all kinds of questions, right? And then they'll probably start asking you questions about the organization and stuff, right? So that's one reason why they don't take plea deals. But then again, it's up to the boss, right? It's up to the boss. The boss allows you to, then go ahead. You know, they'll give you the green light. But the other part about it is you're sitting there in a big indictment with like 10, 15 people, and then here you want to take a plea deal. You're automatically making everybody else look guilty. You know what I mean? And that's why people don't take deals that's why they don't take those type of deals especially in a big setting. Look up George. Yeah, I know who George is. Yeah, George did what? 30. George did 36, I think, right? 38 years. Okay, 32. Yeah, for weed. That's Long John's son. That's what's his name's godson? Angelo Bruno's godson. Yeah, Philly. And then he's involved with all kinds of things. He's got all kinds of stuff going on. He's got a restaurant. I believe that's his restaurant. I think if it's not his, it's his family. I think they have one in Florida, and I think they have one in Philly. Yeah, I seen him. I seen him a couple times on. I seen him once on Instagram. And I believe he was sitting down talking to his cousin, I believe. And then I seen him come on that Andrea Giovino little podcast. Yeah, he's got a heck of a story there. You know what I mean? He was sentenced to life without parole in '84 for weed. He was released in 2015. Okay, 2015. So he's been okay. So and then him and Senior were cellies for a while. Steve is his cousin. And his cousin also in is he in Gravesend or is he in Avenue U or something like that, I think. Or one of them shows I see. I believe that's his cousin. The guy, he's kind of bald headed and his face kind of looks like plasticky, like kind of plastic looking. And his eyebrows look kind of. Steve owns the restaurants. Yeah, I think that's the guy I'm talking about, right? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Lucky Loco. Thought on the series The Offer. I never heard of it. Lives in Florida now. Yeah, I was checking out that restaurant, man. They got some nice restaurants. I believe they got one in Philly too, though, right? And then they have the one in Florida. top notch restaurants. You know what I mean? I barely started watching Get Gotti the other day. I barely caught the first episode of it. Cafe Martorano, yeah. He I think he even said that he's all up in the I believe he said he's got a strand or strands out too, I believe. Or if it's not that, he might have said that he was invested in some growing some growing or something in I don't remember what state he said. But I know he said I'm pretty sure he mentioned something with weed though, strands or something. But yeah, man. And then I see, and then yesterday while I was like shaving, I was trying to line up my goatee and I messed it all up, so I should cut it off. But I see that I don't even know who this dude is. I mean, I know who he is because I've been seeing him on YouTube, but like I don't know nothing really much about him. I think what's his first name? Matthew. I think Matthew Cox. I know he went to the feds for something, and I know he ratted. He had Jeff Nadeau on the other day, and that was an okay show. Jeff Nadeau was just telling him, like, he would ask Jeff something, and then Jeff would kind of like run it down to him, and then he brought up fucking what's his name? Barillo, Gene Barillo, and then he's like, so now he has 2-3 days later, he has him on his show, and it's just like, man, the dude he just constantly talks out the side of his neck, like, you know what I mean? You would never, the way he talks, you would never think he got a second chance at life after he ratted. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even like trip on that. Like, that's not my thing to be dwelling on somebody that's a rat. You know what I'm saying? I don't like Mikey. I think I'm not sure if it's Mikey here. Craig Gatto's channel. I don't know if you go over there. I think I just found him a couple days ago, but he had that old timer on there with him named Jimmy. What is it? Demonico. His dad was Juicy. Anyways, he's telling them, like, the old man's like, well, they can't do the time. That's what it is. Well, a lot of it is that they can't do the time. And a lot of it is they've been living such a lavish life, you know what I mean, with all this money, that, they've been such a big earner, in their career, and now they got to go do time, and it doesn't sit right with them. You know what I'm saying? And I believe too, though, these people, they're not really like, that's not really them. Yeah. He's buddies with him, with Tony Silo. Yeah. So anyways, Craig made a comment. He said, I've been ratted on. And Gordo, I don't know if Gordo's still here, but Gordo will tell you, he'll tell you that I was ratted on. My so-called friend came to my house with a fucking wire on. You know what I mean? And try to set me up. And I mean, he did set me up, but the thing was they didn't hit me for like 2 weeks later. And when they hit me, they didn't find shit. But fact was, it was already a controlled buy from the first time. And then he lied on some other times and said that he paid cash for this and for different things, and he didn't pay cash. You know what I mean? And they gave him cash, and it was like 3-4 times the amount that, you know what I mean, what it was worth. Anyways, this dude was my real friend and had no case. He didn't even have a case. Man. He just wanted to work for the police so bad that he fucking ratted me out, man. And I'm thinking, damn, homie, like there's a ton of people you can go do that with that are selling rocks on the corner, you know, and shit like that. Why would you want to come do that? You shouldn't do it at all. But I mean, why were you going to come do that with somebody you got ties with? Your sister's married to my cousin. You know what I mean? It just, man, I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Yeah, reality report. There you go. Oh, look at my Steve Tortola. Steve Tortola tapping in from Canada. I remember that story when it came out. Matt Cox. Yo, I don't know nothing about that dude. I think was he like embezzling money or something, or Ponzi scheme or something like that. How's Champ? He's sleeping. I ran him really tough today because we've been getting a lot of bad weather lately, a lot of raining, so they haven't been outside too much. That when they go outside, they just go use the bathroom, come back quick. Especially him, he don't like the elements, and so he's been chewing things, you know. And the breeder that I got him from, because they just turned a year old, him and the litter, and they kept 3 puppies, and then I got Champ, and so they was like, you know, they posted all everybody's pictures for the birthday, you know, on their channel, December 20th. Anyways, so he just turned a year old, December 20th, and he's starting to, you know, I was tripping out a little bit because he hasn't really grown since like 9.5 months old. But that was just because, you know, he had growth spurts, and so he should be getting another one soon here, because a couple of his brothers, they hit some spurts, and that now, you know, they got like the one they call Sergeant Slaughter. He's got a real big old chest, and I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? Carlo, vaya, Carlo. Yeah, so he's starting. All what I did too is I upped his food up a little bit, and I give him these supplements too, muscle supplements. But I'm gonna get off that. Oh yeah, he's way bigger than her. He's 5 inches taller than her. His head's like 3 inches bigger than hers. The only thing she's got him right now still on is her neck is thicker. Her neck is thicker than her head. Her head's like 22 inches. Her neck's like 23, 24 inches. You know, that's why they call these dogs bulls, because they got that fat neck. And then a lot of times, you know how the bull's neck is on top. You know, she has that look to her. You know, he's still, you know, in my opinion, he's still skinny. You know, even though everybody, I guess because I see him every day, but everybody that sees him for the first time, or the first time like on his feet, not in the car, you know, because they roll with me everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And they'll be like, damn, he got a big ass head, or he's huge. And I'm like, really? And you don't seem like that to me, even though I know he's going to be, once he's, you know what I mean? Full maturity. You know what I mean? So he's just barely a year. He'd be 13 months. He's going to be 13 months in a couple more days. The 20th. What's today? The 10th, 11th? Yeah. They call it popping. That's what they call it. He gonna pop. That means he's gonna widen out. You know what I mean? So I always predicted that he was gonna be 26, 27 inches tall, right? The last time I measured him, he was 25 inches, which was like when he was like 9.5 months old. I always said he was going to be 120 to 160 pounds, and he's like 130 right now. I always said his head was going to be, eventually, by the time he's full grown, his head will be like 26 to 28 inches. It's 25 right now. and and in his neck, I figured his neck would be like, because his dad's neck is bigger than, as big as his head too, around. I mean, measured with inches. His neck right now is like he's got about a 23, 24 inch neck right now. But the difference between the two is that Daisy is short, compact. She got short legs, short body, you know what I mean? Shorter muzzle. And he's got long body, long legs, longer muzzle. You know what I mean? So I started thinking like, man, are these guys are they gonna complement each other if I breed them together? You know what I mean? Because I started getting worried that dogs are gonna be tall, long legs, but be big up top, but with kind of like how dudes in the joint be big up top and their legs are skinny. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys get me, but I spoke to so many people that have a lot of experience breeding the dogs, and they're like, nah. They said that they will set each other perfectly. You know what I mean? That she's 20 inches tall, he's 25 right now, right? So I believe he's gonna I think she might get another half inch taller. But pretty much for her, everything's done except for her weight. You know what I mean? But everybody said that now they'll complement each other. I like his size. Yeah, I get that too a lot from people. I like the longer look, that American look. I like that's me too. I like the longer body. Um One of the puppies I had, he was a black merle he was a black a tri black merle, or a black merle, tri black merle. So he was black. He kind of was gray, but he had the black blotches. So that's called merle, black merle. And then he had the tan points on the eyebrows, on his cheeks, and a couple of his legs were tan. And that came from his dad. But he was like the best looking one, as far as like he had that bully look, he had a nice big, decent little big head, and he was boned up. So that's when they have like thick legs, you know what I mean? And he was short, and like I said, he had that bully look already. When some of his other sisters and brothers were longer looking, they had a different look. But damn, the poor thing ended up getting I gave him their second vaccine. And this was at my niece's house, and I had Chap and Daisy in the garage with me, and the puppies they were all playing with them, they were all playing together, and Daisy was laying down on the floor on the ground, and Champ was right next to her, and a couple of puppies were on Daisy's back. Well, anyways, that was about 3 in the morning when I left, and come about 9 in the morning, my niece calls me, and she's saying that he's not. We called him Solo. That he's not doing good. He's sick. Something's wrong with him, and not even like an hour, he was gone. He passed away. He got twisted stomach. He got twisted stomach. So what that basically means is like the dog somehow, when they're eating or drinking, some gas somehow gets mixed in there or something, and it causes the stomach to just flop, to flip over, and then they get real bloated. I mean, really bad. So so originally I'm thinking, I'm like, what the hell would cause that? Was it from the vaccine? I'm thinking the vaccine. I also dewormed them too at this right after that. And I started reading up on things, and and it was saying stuff like, they can have side reactions and this and that, but nothing like that. Nothing that would cause something like that. And then further looking into the twisted stomach, the first picture I seen was that was how he looked. So I was in San Jose last week. He was in San Jose last week. Is that right? What was you doing? Visiting family? Staffordshire look was solid. Yeah, so I DNA both these dogs. I don't even call these guys dogs. I call them bulls. I'm surprised I said dog right now. But what happened was I made a mistake, not knowing, because it was the first time I ever did it. But when I DNA tested Daisy, I got the blue box. And when I DNA tested Champ, I got the yellow box, what they call is the breeder box. And he ended up coming back with 76% American Pit Bull Terrier, 13% American Bulldog, and 9% Mastiff. So that's why he got the black mask, the black eyebrows. That's from the Mastiff. And those DNA tests, man, they're on point. Like with Daisy, when I did her, I posted her picture. Like as soon as I opened my thing on it, I posted pictures of her. Well, with Champ, I didn't. I did it afterwards. And what happens is when dogs end up being related to your dog, they end up sending you alerts like, oh, we found some more dogs related to your dog. So I started finding all these dogs related to Daisy, and started seeing the people on the show, and then they started hitting me up on Instagram, and you know what I mean? But he came back. It says that he carries Sable, which that's his color, Sable. Fawn, and I think the third color was black, but it also said on there that he carries like facial hair, which I mean is like he's got eyebrows, black eyebrows, and then he's got the black muzzle, which is they call that smut. You know what I mean? Buffalo Billy go rowdy outside, and then they also tell you like if like diseases, like 250 diseases. You know what I mean? And they'll tell you, if your dog's clear for that. They'll tell you if it's a Merle carrier. They'll tell you if it's so Daisy's not a Merle carrier, but she's a dilution. She carries a dilution trait, basically meaning like it lightens up the colors. You know what I mean? But if you look at her, like especially when she gets wet, when I'm like giving her a bath, you can see the spots she has under her white. And you can see the real pink, from the pigmentation, the pink areas. And then with her, she carries black, blue, and cocoa. And then it says later on in the chart, because of the pigmentation dilution gene, that most of the colors that she carries will be lightened. You know what I mean? So probably instead of cocoa, it might be like more cream color, or you know what I mean? Like that, I was hoping that Champ, because his dad is a chocolate tri, he's so basically, so what a chocolate tri is like the Rottweiler Doberman colors, not the black ones. Well, that would be black tris for the bullies, the black with the rust color and then the white on the chest. But then you got a chocolate tri, so that's the opposite color of the Rottweilers and Dobies. That's what Champ's dad is. So I was hoping that, with his size and all that he was going to be a tri-carrier, but it didn't come up on his DNA, on the DNA thing. And he only out of the 7 puppies, him and 6 siblings, only one sibling came out tricolor, and she came out black, black, rust, and white. She's the only one. And then he only had. There was 3 sisters. One came out all black, and one came out as his part of the trio. There's triplets with Champ. It's him, a brother, and a sister. They all look the same, but he's got a little more red to him. Yeah, the tricolors are the popular dogs now. That's what people want, is the tricolor dogs. So they want chocolate tris, black tris, blue tris, lilac tris, and then of course the Merles. You know what I mean? So the female that I got left, she's a piebald. So she's got an all white head, all white chest, all white neck, and then she's got brindle on her top line of her back, her back, brindle. And then the boy is and his name's Bronx. We call him Bronx. Her name is Hey You. Hey You, come here. The kids named her. My little great nephew and nieces named her that. The boy's named Bronx, and he's a trindle. He's black, white, and then you can see the brindle in there. So he's a tricolor dog too. You know what I mean? Oh, we got some people coming in. Who we got here? Mikey. We got Mikey Jr., Edwin Jimenez, Sound Whole Lifer. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, yeah. So it's you know, these were all like new things I had to learn. You know, these colors and stuff. Because they didn't have those when we were, you know, back in the day. They just had black, white, black and white. They had brindle, you know, which people call tiger stripe, right? And then you had like a chocolate color with white, and then you have like a reddish color with white, and then that was it, right? And then the blues came out, and then well, they had some like cream color ones I remember too, and then the blue color came out, and then the blue fawn came out. You know what I mean? So that you got all these different ones, all these new colors now, and it's like, man, you know what I mean? And a lot of them look not. A lot of them are tight. He matter of fact, Chap's dad just had a litter. They had another litter, all his little brothers and sisters, and they're all tricolors, all tri chocolates and tri lilacs. You know what I mean? So you're talking like you know that changes the price like a couple $1,000. You know what I mean? Depending on uh depending on your like your range that you're selling your dogs and who you are as a breeder. You know what I mean? Because there are some huge breeders out there. Like that guy from DDK, the one that got the Hulk, he sells his puppies for like 20 grand, 50, 40 grand. A lot of them go overseas. A lot of them go overseas, and a lot of them go to sports players and stuff like that, rappers. You know what I mean? What's doing everyone? Well, you already know that, Mikey. Likewise. Yeah, and yeah, me and Mikey, we're gonna get on here. Probably tomorrow's Friday, probably next week for sure. Now, especially after today, I got on here today. I did a recorded video, and then now this one. So I'm getting back in the swing of things, hopefully. And me and Mike Jr., we like to get on there and talk boxing too. You know what I mean? And they've been having since the last time we did a little sit down and talk some boxing. A ton of great matches have already went down, and more to come. You know what I mean? A lot of Bernard Hopkins and Bill Haney are going at it. Oh man, just it's kind of dumb in my opinion, because it's like I don't really know what Bernard said. I mean, other than people ain't like me, stuff like that. And I know what he means as a convict. I know what he's saying, right? And Bill Haney's a con too. He's been to the joint too. He's from right here where I'm from, right? So, and he keeps saying, Devin at 23, he wasn't a petty criminal like you, and da-da-da. And it's like, come on, man. Like, you're down talking to a fellow ex-con. I mean, not saying there's anything good about it, but it's like, you've been through that struggle already. You know what's up already. Like, and then he says, oh yeah, 25 or 28, you're over there doing time for armed robbery. Well, hey, you're talking that crap. You're saying these things about this man, but this man then came out the joint after being 30 years old, starting way behind, right? And then accomplishing the things he accomplished in the ring. Bernard Hopkins, you know what I'm saying? And it was just a different era. There was only, 3 belts back then. It wasn't a 4-belt era, and a lot of the fighters didn't even trip on that. Like nowadays, undisputed is what people are trying to have on their resume. You know what I'm saying? They weren't tripping on that back then. Oh, sorry about that. They weren't tripping on that back then, and he also made a comment like, well, the executioner, you didn't brand that, make it into a company, and that's not what it was back then. You know what I mean? Uh, it was just different, man. And guys weren't, they were trying to, they would win a belt for sure, and then maybe two belts, and then they'd move on. And so it is what it is. But it's just different eras. Just like with the basketball, you comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan, and LeBron James gets away with all kinds of extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? The traveling, the carrying, all that extra stuff that's enabled him to, stack on all these points. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's good. It's a different era, but he, in my opinion, he wouldn't have been able to hang with Charles Oakley and Charles Barkley and Bill Laimbeer and all them other dudes. Rick Mahorn and Robert Parrish and you know what I mean, Kevin Willis and nah, you know, uh, it's just a different era, man. It's all a different era. It's just you can't compare it. It's hard to compare it. Boxing as well. Samo Lifer. Have you heard of the boxer Rafa Espinoza? No, I ain't heard of him. Have you heard of him, Mikey? Rafael Espinoza? Or Rafa Espinoza? Is he from Samo? I seen somebody the other day on YouTube talking. Maybe that could have been him. I don't know. But we got what's Don Edwin say? Big Lou, how is the weather where you're at? Today it was sunny, but it was very cold. It's been cold, but not your guys' nothing that you guys see over there. Well, not Puerto Rico, but over like New York and all that. Not even close. You know what I mean? But since you're a New Yorker, since you're from the Bronx, it's nothing like that, Edwin. You know what I mean? I think my car said today, and I was like kind of shocked that it said the temperature it said and how cold it was. It said 42 on my car today, but it felt so much colder than that. He pretty good. No, I think from Mexico. Okay. No, I ain't heard of him. What division is he in? What weight class? I think he's 27-0, 26 knocks. Ooh, that's good numbers. That's like Tank Davis numbers. You know what I mean? You got that division now, that 140 division, that division is stacked, right? And you got each belt is one dude has one belt. Like it's not like where he has two belts. No, you got 5 different champions in that division. And the reason I say 5 because Tank has the WBA regular, which a lot of people don't consider a major world title. And if you look at it, I think Tank Davis is already like he's won belts in 3 divisions, but he wins the WBA regular most of the time. And like I said, depending who you talk to, some will, some will, they'll say, yeah, that's a title, or they won't. You know what I mean? Like, what's his name? Paulie Malignaggi. He don't accept that belt as a major world title. He's a featherweight. Oh, okay, he's a little dude. Featherweight's what? 118? 118 pounds, I think it is. 122, 118, something like that. Yeah, you got and you got all these different people are calling out all different people. You got Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo's calling out Crawford. Crawford's talking shit. Like the stuff that Crawford's saying now to Teofimo is what was happening to Crawford when Crawford was 140, and he was calling out not Bud. He was calling out Thurman and Porter and Spence back then when he was 140 pounds. You know what I mean? And now he's doing the same thing what was done to him that he didn't like. I saw a couple clips on him on YouTube. He looks pretty good. He beat champion, took his ball. I don't know who. Oh, took his belt. Let me see. I was gonna say Fulton right now, but Fulton got beat by what's his name? By uh the Japanese kid, Inoue. But that's a it's a different let's see. Rafael Espinoza. Let's see. Rafael Espinoza. I don't think it's the same Rafael Espinoza. Let's see. All right here, box rec. 19 KOs. Yeah, that's not him. That's a different one. It just says super welterweight. Let's see. Let me try to do this. Mexican boxer. Did he beat Ramirez? Huh? That's who he took the belt from. Ramirez. Yeah, this guy's he's 29 years old. Born in 1994. Yeah, igualmente. Let's see. El Divino Rafael Espinosa Cepeda. He's got the WBO belt right now, featherweight. 24. He's 24-0 with 20 knockouts. That's pretty good. That's pretty high percentage. Pretty high percentage. You know what I mean? I think he beat Ramirez. Ramirez Cuban. But yeah, you got 4 belts over there on the 140, which is junior welterweight. You got Rolly Romero has one. You got Teofimo Lopez has one. Teofimo has the WBO. Rolly has the Super WBA Super. Tank has the WBA regular. Devin has the WBC because he just went up and weighed and beat Regis Proigers. Took the WBC belt from him, and then the IBF is the Puerto Rican cat. I forgot how you say his name. Stuves, I think it is. Wait till he was behind security to talk back. MMA fans react to Colby Covington getting heckled. Yeah, that's a trip. Crawford fires back at Teofimo Lopez after his call out and discrediting his resume. Yeah, see, so you got that going on, and then I don't know what the hell happened there. You had Ryan Garcia. He put in, I don't know if it was Twitter, Instagram. He put a poll up, and he asked his followers who he should fight next, if he should fight Rolly or was it Lopez? Yeah, I think it was No, Haney or Rolly, and they said Haney. And then they said that Ryan Garcia and Mayweather went and did a lap, they went jogging, and he came back and he switched up and switched to Rolly. I mean, Rolly would be obviously the easiest fight for him because I don't know how the hell Rolly has that belt. I mean, he shouldn't have had that belt. That Venezuelan cat was not like, he was still protecting himself. He was still throwing punches back. And Tony Weeks stopped that fight. You know what I mean? That old cat, he just knocked somebody out the other day in the first round. You know what I mean? So Rolly shouldn't have got that belt. And then that first belt he got, like, the other dude just whooped him the whole fight. And even the commentators were like, what the fuck is going on with that, man? You know what I mean? So it's a trip with all that. But man, I gotta figure out how to put my avatar back on there. Like when I turn the camera off, I don't know why it's not showing up. It's a trip. I don't know why. Chat filter top. Chat filter top messages. What's this? Oh, okay. So yeah, it's been a lot of shit I've been seeing go on, man, with certain channels. Uh, the dry snitching just don't stop. You know what I mean? It's crazy. People, mofos would be like, oh, you're lucky that I don't do that, and they'll, because you did this to me, and they'll say it over and over again. It's like, dude, like, enough already. Like you're dry snitching, man. You're like, to be honest, I don't even think people understand. Don't even realize. Uh, they don't realize and know that what they're hearing is what they're hearing. Like people that ain't done time, they ain't in the street, that ain't never been up in the street hustling and stuff like that. They hear people dry snitching. I don't even think it clicks in their mind that the people are doing that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously you got to be around to know. You know what I mean? You got to, obviously you had to be schooled to know what's going on. So I'm not knocking the people for that, but I'm just saying, if people were to start calling out things, and be like, look, you remember when you heard this? Yeah, that's dry snitching. You know what I'm saying? It's just comical, man. And some people claim to be journalists, or they report things, and you know what I mean. But I believe that if you're a journalist, excuse me, and you're trying to report, crime figure, I don't know how you want to call it, crime figures or mob figures, or what I mean. I don't believe that you should be having like a personal opinion. Like, in other words, don't, I don't think they, you report what you heard, what the facts are, or the facts to the best of your ability that you obtained, put them out there on your channel, but then don't be like, oh, well, don't be like criticizing the motherfucker either, like personally criticizing them, like, or like, just getting on them, like, but like in the street sense, you know what I'm saying? You never even, like, you're not about that. So just report it like you're a reporter. Can you imagine Walter Cronkite or one of them old timers up there? You know what I mean? And be like, oh man, can you believe the dude? He became an informant. The sissy ass chump motherfucking pussy. You know what I mean? The coward. Oh, come on. It's like, come on. And and people, a lot of these people, man, ain't done time at all. Like, would you even ask them, you done time? And they're like, oh yeah, I done not no hard time. So I mean, like me, I ain't even done hard time. I mean, not in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? 6 years is not hard time. 3 years, I mean, I've done 4 years a few times. 6 years I did. It wasn't hard time. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I mean, I guess it depends what you mean by hard time. Like hard timing it? Because a lot of them people are gonna be doing that, tripping off that stress box, off that phone. You have to learn when you go to jail, prison, especially prison, that you cannot control nothing that's going on in the streets with nobody. You know what I'm saying? Once you train your mind, once your mind is trained like that, your time will be so much easier. But if you think you're going to be hopping on that phone every little while, yelling and all that, and doing all that stuff, oh, no. You know what I mean? I seen somebody make another comment the other day, like, they're talking about, California and the prison system in California and this and that. And the guy was asking questions, legitimate questions, like, well, what are the Italians? What about them? Where do they fall? And I just tell them straight up, Italians fall with the whites. I mean, it is what it is. The Portuguese fall with the whites. Spaniards fall with the whites. You know what I mean? It's, basically, if you're not black, white, black, Mexican, or white, then you're considered another, to be honest. Right? So by me, my nationality, I would be a other, but that's not how I grew up. A lot of spots around here are, a lot of Ricans are there. You know what I'm saying? We've been part of the history with this Northern California thing since the beginning of time. You know what I'm saying? And when you're from up north, Northern California, you don't trip off like it's not to the extent like down south where you have to be Mexican blood to be made. You know what I mean? They did have some guys that weren't Mexican blood. There was a couple of Puerto Ricans that were made, but you don't see that now. You know what I'm saying? These are guys that got put on in this one in the 70s, and they killed him. And then the other one just got killed a few years ago. Matter of fact, and his grandson is in that movie with Shia LaBeouf. I forgot what it's called. It's like The Collector or something like that. That was the Puerto Rican dude's grandson. He just got killed like what, 3 years ago maybe. Yeah, so you know when people say things too, I mean people talk out the side of their necks, I mean all the fucking time, right? On every subject you can think of, right? Okay, so I came on a channel one time. Yeah, right, huh? Yeah, you ain't lying, Carlos. I came on a show one time with a big rap figure from Northern California, from San Francisco, named JT, the Bigger Figure, and I believe he's the one that put Game on originally. But I grew up listening to this dude's music since I was like 16, 17. He's been around for like 32 years already. And supposedly he made a comment about somebody that and people, of course, now I'm not saying what he said, everything he said was cool. But what a lot of happened was they got, the dust kicked up about was a lot of cut and, taken out of context, where you wouldn't play the man's whole statement, what he said. They would cut and paste and play what they wanted to play, and then obviously people would get, take it, they would get offended, you know what I mean? And, but anyways, I'm on there and, in the comments, somebody says, well, why you got a Rican on there talking? And, like he's not Mexican. And it's like, dude, first of all my kids are Mexican. I grew up with Mexicans, you know what I'm saying? If you know really what you're talking about when it comes to being from Northern California, then that's never an issue. Like, that's not something that you would say. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't say that. It's, people they're simple-minded people, you know what I'm saying? They don't get it, you know what I'm saying? Does it when it's told 100? Yeah, dry snitching is this new cool. That's crazy. You know what I'm talking about? I seen it a few times, but it's and it's funny too, like like how and then I laugh too because I haven't been around that much. I think the last 6 or 7 no fly zone live streams, I only caught one. It's just funny now how everything's been like everything's came full circle. Like people that weren't fucking, like were fucking with people at first, now they didn't fuck, they stopped fucking with them, now they were fucking with them again, or little things happen here and here, little riffs. But you got certain individuals that they act like they're so fucking righteous, man, and it's fucking it's comical. It's it's fucking comical, man. It's yeah, it's different on the West Coast. Yeah, it's different. It's different, most definitely different. When somebody gets accused, of being that that old school word I used to hear my mom say, a fink, right? That fink. You're finking? I used to hear her say that word, right? Pointing the finger, right? Ratting on people, or that funny shit, right? With that R word, right? With kids or women or even men. There was a fucking homeboy that was older than me that I had no clue, what, because he was older. He started doing time way before me, and he started doing time in the 80s, right? And when he would smoke that straight shooter, that rock, he would get all freaky and shit, right? And I found this out later that he would always, he would get high on that rock and then he would try to rape dudes, right? And I was like, what the hell, right? So once I didn't know all that, but how I found out was I used to get the paper when I was in the pit, and there was a dude from my town that was in there with me, but he was from a different, he ran with a different car, but I would let him read my newspaper because we're from the same town, right? And the dude that I'm speaking of now, uh, he was there, but not there. And so let me explain what I mean by that. Is that we were at a state prison. We were on a level 3 yard in a state prison yard, but on the outside of the prison there was a like a psychiatric ward, right? And the California Department of Correction COs would man it on the outside only. They weren't allowed to go inside, but they would man it on the outside. Security. You had somebody out there in the booth or in the towers. Are obviously armed, and they had a dude there that was from our town. And the reason why he was there, because I started, it came out in the paper, and so that's how I found out what he was all about. Well, what happened was they petitioned the court that he was a threat, that he was a safety concern to society, right? Because I think he had 3 prison terms, right? Three different crimes that sent him to the joint was all sexual stuff, right? And like I said, it was always with the man, So I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm finding all this out because, like I said, I was not old enough to ever, at that time, when I was a little kid looking up to the dude, I was too young. I was a kid, little kid. You know what I mean? I didn't know, and a lot of other people didn't know. Or at least they act like they didn't know. And so, before I read the newspaper article, I seen his face right there. And they were talking about he was going to be released. So I showed the dude the face. You remember him? And the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "Oh yeah, that motherfucker tried to rape my partner, right?" I go, "What?" And that was the first time I ever heard that. And then I obviously, after reading it, I started getting more knowing what was going on there. Let's see what the Carlos say here. Yeah, no matter if it's 1 or 20 years, inmates and convicts just like me. Oh, yep, exactly. Yep. Yeah, there's a difference. People, and that'll throw people for a loop too. If you say, "I'm a convict," I'm a convict, I'm not an inmate. And they'll be like, "What?" I mean, that'll fuck them up. They won't know what the fuck you mean by that. Ain't it the same thing? You know what I mean? They're thrown for a fucking loop. You know what I mean? And that's the type of shit I'm talking about. They got no clue, but yet they're so opinionated. They got a big fucking mouth about everything, like they would take care of shit if they seen, you know what I mean? And I even used, matter of fact, when I did that video earlier, I used that video, that little documentary clip with Mikey Scars when he's riding with Trevor McDonald, and he sees Froggy Galleon over there, and he says, "Oh, so the 2 guys over there, they're Lucchese's. The one's father was killed when the botch hit with Gotti, right?" And Trevor was like, "Well, what happens if they see you?" He said, "Well, they could act like make believe they didn't see me, or it puts them on the spot because they're supposed to act, right? If they see Mikey Scars, they're supposed to act. They're supposed to try to get him, take his wind. That's how it is here." So I brought that up when I was bringing that up when I was talking about the Merlino in the Sunny thing, technically Merlino has a point there, when he says, your son ratted and he picked you up and all that, but it was very unclassy how he did it. And you're talking about 100-year-old plus man that's fucked up. It's not like he's got full use of both his legs, and he's, I think he even had 1 kidney, I think, or something like that. So what is he supposed to do? Get up and whoop on him? You know what I mean? So it's like, it just didn't make sense. Plus, like I said earlier, they didn't really have a relationship for a while there, and at some point they reconciled, their differences, when he got out that last time, I believe. You know what I mean? So, and I brought up that Mikey Scars thing because that was the first thing that came to my mind. Because there's a lot of guys over here that will be hanging out with somebody that's considered no good, not because they're rats, just because they decided, hey, I'm not going to politic no more, in prison, and they were done. They didn't want to do it no more. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's totally different than you're constantly being told what to do. Just some people are just not. They're not cut out for that. And they get tired of shit. And 2, there's jacked up politicking going on, and people get put in crosses. And, if I could save my ass, but do you in, that shit happens too. Bad politics, bad calls, All that shit happens. But I've seen it before where somebody's no good, and again, not a rat, not a weirdo, but they're just considered no good in the in the politics, with politics, and somehow they might get arrested together. And since they got arrested together, they're co-defendants now, and their names are on each other's paperwork, right? And I've seen guys get moved on for that, for hanging around a guy that's considered in bad standings. I've seen that many times, matter of fact. You know what I mean? So that's what Scars was referring to when he said, they might act like they didn't even see me, but when there's two of them, it's putting them on the spot, because most likely, they got to act. You know what I mean? They got to act, and that's what's not happening nowadays. If that's real true, what they, what I've heard on the different channels, people saying that New York, well, they say New York because they're from New York, that there's dudes that are no good that's been pointing fingers and working with the feds and all that, and they're still doing business with guys that are still out there because they're making money. And it's like, that's true. That's crazy. That's crazy, because it's just like slapping everybody in the face that's doing time. You know what I mean? Everybody that held their mug, and doing time because they believe in that, that woo wop. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just one of them things, man. And then, I can't, and I just can't get over how, how Matt Cox and Gene were talking. This dude looks like he got his eyebrows did all shaped up. You know what I mean? He looks fucking, I don't know what the fuck I can't even tell you what he looks like. And like I said, I don't normally trip on that stuff. Like Craig Gatto said that one night, and I totally agree with him. It's not something I think about. You told on me, yeah, okay. If I ever, am able to do something about it, then yeah, you know what I mean? Just like with anybody else. But to sit there and always say, fuck them rats, them fucking rats. Come on, man. That's nowhere in the script, man. Like, you know what I mean? If any of them cats that do that were over here in Cali and locked up and doing that shit, they're gonna get DP, like they're gonna get disciplined like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Because that should just go without saying. You know what I mean? That goes without saying. Why would you like somebody that ratted? Like, why would you like rats? You know what I'm saying? They help put people away, because their sorry asses couldn't do time, or and this is another thing too. Like, you got guys that are heavily into politics. They're politicking. I don't mean politics like United States politics. I'm talking about politicking in the system, in the joint, amongst their crew, amongst their organization. Constantly politicking, always pointing the finger, always, looking to, have somebody shelved or taken down from their position and having them, put back down to a soldier, or, or the ultimate, right? And then when it happens to them, they're like, oh, there's no loyalty. It's like, dude, you're always fucking pointing your finger at motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? What do you mean there ain't no loyalty? Who you been loyal to? You know what I mean? So that's why I would say, like, motherfuckers need to be on a straight and narrow, when it comes to stuff like that, because and I heard Michael Francis say that his dad told him this, that you don't be pointing your finger and being quick to judge others, because you never know when they're going to be, where they surpassed you and they're outranking you now. You think they're going to forget about that shit? Hell no. He does look gay though. Who does? Matt Cox? Or are you talking about Brillo? I haven't seen any videos on Matt Cox, but I remember seeing a documentary years ago about him. Don't how he found this genre. Yeah, he's got a pretty good big channel now too, but everything he says is nonsense. He had Big Hurt on there one time. I don't know if you know who that is. He's from over here by me, Sacramento, and big black dude, yoked up, bald headed. He don't really talk. He talks more educated. He don't really have like no type of street slang way he talks. But he did a bank robbery, went to the feds. I think he did 10. And he's real big against snitching, and he goes to this dude's channel and he's doing a show with him. Or that guy might have went, I think Cox went to his show, because Big Hurt had a big ass channel at one time. I don't know where it's at now. But he like literally started getting mad during the little during the interaction or interview, whatever you want to call it. And he's like, "You telling me that if if you're gonna fall, you're gonna you're gonna tell on everybody?" Nah, something like that. And it's just like so arrogant, willing just to, tell on people. And then I heard this motherfucker, Barillo, tells a story about his grandpa gets busted and he gets busted, and the grandpa took extra time so that his sorry ass could get off the hook. And I think the grandpa got life out of that. And then they ended up changing some law and he went back to court and then he got released. But then he fucked up again and I think he died in the pen. And it's like, are you serious, motherfucker? Like, your grandpa took more time to get your sorry ass off the hook, and then you're gonna turn around and go rat motherfuckers out because they didn't want to give you money for your lawyer when you should have had your own money saved up. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And then I heard this too, and I don't know how true this is, but I remember them calling him Tonto or something like that, right? And I remember seeing like picture his face with like Native American clothing on, like a squaw, right? Like a female. And I heard somebody ask his cousin the other day if he was Native American, talking about Anthony Ruggiano, and he says, "Oh no," and he's kind of laughing. He goes, "No, my cousin Gene's dad was part Native American. I'm related to him on his mother's side." So I'm thinking in my head, well, his dad's part Native American. How the hell would he ever get? How would he ever get straightened out? What is it? Well, at that time, it was just you just had to have an Italian last name, or what? Big Hurt, Fresh Out. Yeah, Fresh Out. There you go. I said he's a funny guy. Who's a funny guy? Big Hurt. Let me see. Fresh Out, Mikey, funny guy. Fresh Out Jail was it called? Yeah, me and Mikey Gorilla have disagreed on things, but never changed the respect as a man. Yeah, that's human, man. That's human, man. Take piss, have fun. We all forget this is man. Yeah, yeah. It's like you should be able to, you know what I mean? That's how it should be. You should be able to, have little disagreements or little debates or whatever. Be able to say your point of view of something. They tell you their point of view, and it shouldn't be taken further than that. Like how things are now. Like, oh, we don't see eye to eye on ideologies. Therefore, fuck you. I mean, that's how it literally is. Fucking crazy, man. Oh, you're a Democrat. Fuck you. You're a Republican. Fuck you. Like, man, that's not what it should be about. I never disagreed with Mikey. I just tell him to shut up. Is that right? Beck's bully. So this is Beck, Brooklyn, or I'm not sure. Beck's bully. Yeah. So yeah, and this show turned out pretty good. I didn't think I was gonna go over. I didn't think I was gonna go more than like 30 minutes. So yeah, so that show earlier was on that little topic, and some people say that evening woke jokes, woke jokes. I mean, I told somebody the other day too. They said some of them words. I said, "Oh, stupid ass word, no fucking dumb ass words." Like gaslight and all them dumb ass shit. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But yeah, it's something else, man. So I got a bunch of stuff I've been writing down like over these last few months, and different things, some sports things, some life stuff, like the importance of having like life insurance, stuff like that. So I got different things, a lot of mob content that I've been writing down, ideas and stuff. And Carlo Carlo too. Carlo too. Okay, Maureen Mo is a lady, not man. No, I know that, but no, I know that, but I was saying when it said Beck's bully, I was thinking maybe that there, maybe uh, Bre- uh, maybe isn't it Beck Brooklyn? I think that's what the handle's name is. The handle is. I was thinking maybe they were, together or something. You know what I mean? It's a joke between them. Fix me up with J Lo, Mikey Pilon, Mikey Pilon. I heard. I don't know if you guys seen this. They were talking about. I don't know what it was. It was just a little short, but it was. It looked like it was Charles Barkley. I don't know who the host was, and then it was Fat Joe. And on the screen behind the host, they had what's his name, Young Thug. I think it's Young Thug, and he's locked up. I think right. And Stiffy, what's going on, Stiffy? And he goes, he goes. The lady asked Fat Joe something, and Fat Joe said, he said, man, he said 95% of my lyrics are all bullshit. He said, Fat Joe said that. And I'm like, what the he said, he said, I mean, I ain't out there in the street. He said, I'm a tax-paying husband, father. I thought that shit was funny. You know what I mean? Because I thought Fat Joe was some terrorizer out there in the Bronx. I thought, you know what I mean? So I heard him say, and then I heard, oh, what, Carlos, you still there? Well, what happened with uh that Hassan dude? I didn't know he was from the Bronx. I think he said he's from the Bronx, or he was in the Bronx recently, and he said he got shot. He went over there acting a damn fool, and they started bucking at him. Billy, did you bump your head? Yeah, that's what I tell people when they say some foolish shit. I said, man, look, I don't know if you bumped your head or something, man, but you might want to go find that wall or that tree that you did bump your head and bump it back in so you can knock yourself back into reality. You know what I'm saying? Because you talking some straight bullshit. You know what I mean? Did you bump your head? You heard? Facts. I don't know. Have you guys seen that? I don't know what his name is. Randall? I think it's Randall. Randall Ortiz. Uh, the Dominican cat, where his mom's always asqueroso, estúpido. She's always talking shit, and he's talking shit to her in English. They'll talk Spanglish a little bit. He will to her, and he's always talking shit. But they catch, they put it on video, on the thing. I think the sister be videotaping it. Kind of funny. Some of the skits are funny. Fat Joe has been living the lavish lifestyle in Florida for decades now. Yeah, I didn't know he lived in. I thought he lived in Jersey. I thought. So he's in Florida, huh? Yeah, he's originally from the Bronx. Yeah, I know that. I met Fat Joe in South Beach 20 years ago. Oh, okay. He even said his name funny. Oh, he said it in English. He goes, I'm just Joey. He said Cartagena. He said Cartagena, something like that. Instead of Cartagena. He probably has houses every. Oh yeah, no doubt. Beck say woke joke. Yeah. There's a lot of beta males around though. What about that one? Beta male. You're a beta male. Fucking soft ass motherfucker, boy. Always complaining, bitching about every fucking thing. Man, it's crazy, man. Motherfuckers need to straight up. They need to fuck. I don't even know the word to say. Well, I mean, I know what to say, but I'm trying to keep it. They need to man up. There you go. They need to man up and stop complaining and bitching about every fucking thing. Big Lou, no TS. What's TS? Tier security? The hell is that? That beeping noise, man. Big Lou, man. I know Maureen Mo is a great friend to us. She's a warrior. So no, yeah. So no, then Beck Brooklyn, no, there's nothing there. Then this is Maureen Rome. Because I seen it said Beck's Bully. So I ain't been around in a while, so I seen some new names today. When I went over there, or actually yesterday, at Thindu, I was in Thindu's thing for a minute, and then I also was in Craig's a couple nights ago. Damn, what is that beeping? What is that? Let me see. What's going on? Trying to. I gotta see what the hell's going. It might be going dead. I'm not sure. Let's see. He don't know TS. LOL. Nah, what's TS? Let's see. Beck Brooklyn is our woke joke brother. Yeah, I know. I heard. I heard one of you guys say it just before it. I heard one of you guys say it. Just before you guys tapped out the last show. When you guys said called him a woke joke or something like that. Yeah, I haven't been, like I said, I only seen didn't do show once. I think it was yesterday. I missed it today. Nah, I ain't playing you. I don't know what TS is. What is TS? Texas Syndicate? Stop throwing me under the bus, you two. She's bullies back. It's a joke between them. Oh, okay. I'm thinking bullies, because I got bullies over here. You know what I mean? A lot of people have bullies for the dog, in their titles. We the Bronx people don't claim Hassan. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who the hell, like, who is he? Like, what the hell is he about? All I see him doing is always talking shit, telling people how they ain't this, they ain't that. Fucking, I heard him say something about African Bumbata, some shit. Trolling him a bit for fun. Yeah, I don't know what TS is though. Still don't know what it is. I ain't been around. Top Secret. Oh, okay, Top Secret. Terror Squad. Yeah, Terror Squad 2, TS. Yeah, Terror Squad. Yeah, they I seen, let me see. And then then you got this freaking that other weird ass dude, the one that they say hung himself. The guy that had the island and all that. Joey Crack. The guy that had his own island and all that. I guess they're gonna end up exposing like who was all going with them, who was taking trips on his private jets. And I already heard like Bill Clinton was like over 70 times. Like I don't know if that means 70 times you rode with him in the jet. 70 times you went with him to his private island. I don't know, but that stuff's getting. Dude made a name off Africa Mumbata touching his brown eye. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was something weird because I don't fuck with that shit, man. I don't fuck with none of that shit. And then I seen, man, speaking of that, I seen fucking matter of fact, Vlad's last interview with that little devil, Sammy the Devil. He asked him like if he ever heard of Michael Thompson, and Michael Thompson's an old AB member from the 70s from here, and he embellishes shit too, right? That's what they do, right? They always make themselves the hero. Anyways, he plays a part for Sammy the Little Devil about of Michael Thompson talking, and he's talking about stables of fucking homosexuals and how they pimp people. But this is the 70s, right? Vlad never said that, like never made it clear, like when is this guy, what is this guy talking about? Because Sammy goes, I've never seen that before, blah, 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 right? And then he said something about, well, what if they What if they Vlad asked Sammy the little devil a question. He said, what if they like try to try to get you and do you? He said, I would F the shit out of them. And then he starts laughing. I'm like, yeah, that's about right. That's about how you float. You know what I mean? He's another little weird motherfucker, man. Little lying ass, always fucking lying and shit, trying to fucking change history and shit. You know what I mean? Man, he just come on, man. Anybody in their right mind know that fucking shit is bullshit. Oh, he threw me under the bus. He said I had to take the raps and so he can go home. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. They got the man on tape talking about people being killed. He ain't going nowhere if you testified or you didn't testify. You know what I mean? It's fucking just this motherfucker just lying, man. And then he said some shit too the other day in that little thing. He said some shit about and he goes, because I was the underboss. He goes, something about Hoffa, that he knows, he knew who did it. It's like, nah, man, you don't know who did it, motherfucker. Yeah, the Crypt Keeper. I call him the little devil because he looks like a little fucking. They made the government made a deal with a devil. You know what I mean? But and he's just so full of shit, man. He tells a story. He's in prison, and like I mentioned this earlier, but he makes it sound like everybody there is in good standings with their people, and it's a regular joint. Everybody's GP. He makes it sound like he's this rat, but then everybody else is good. Are you fucking kidding me? Nobody would walk that line with you, dude. Every race would try to kill your ass. You know what I mean? And then he made up something too and said that fucking that and I don't know, maybe you guys when you guys, Mikey, Carlos, Nelson might know, because you guys from that way, you guys might have heard something, I don't know. But he said that Senior put a obviously we know he wanted him dead, but that he put a contract out on Jack Watts, Joe Watts, and Frankie Locasio, because of what Sammy said him and Frankie Loke spoke. And it's like, damn, he's going to take your word for it because you came out in the interview and said that you and Frankie Loke talked and said, come on, I don't buy that one bit. Our brother needs to catch up on the chat and goings and ongoings of circus too. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like these last few days, I've been catching shit, man. It's like motherfuckers speak like they're so fucking righteous, man. It's like it's like, damn, dude. Like many of these people have been around for 3 years already, 3 years plus, hearing your nonsense. Some of the despicable, evil shit you said about people, even dead people, and then you sit there like you're so righteous. You know what I'm saying? Just, ugh. You know what I mean? Just, sit there like you're righteous, and you're just doing a job, and you came to get to the bottom of it, and but then you're try snitching. Little video, you already mentioned it 3-4 times about how dude punched you, and and if they're lucky you're not that type of guy to call the cops, but you're repeating it over and over again. You know what I mean? It's fucking unbelievable. Just like the other time I heard him say, oh yeah, he's not supposed to be doing no social media stuff. The judge said he couldn't do it. And he mentioned that like 3 or 4 times. And then him and the other individual on the screen were going back and forth. Ain't that right, so-and-so? Yeah, that is right. They said he couldn't do this. And it's like, yeah, okay, you're not going to be the one that calls down to the federal probation department, but somebody that's listening to you repeat that over and over again will. You know what I mean? And it's just, you know what I mean? But that's what I was saying. And you hear these people say, oh yeah, have you ever done time? And if so, how much time? I know, well, I've never done hard time. I've been arrested like 8-9 times, 4 or 5 days here, 3 weeks there. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? I wouldn't even repeat that. Like, you just say, no, I never done no time really. Like 3 weeks here, 2 days there. Are you fucking serious? I don't even consider me doing hard time. I did 6 years one time. I did 4 years twice. I don't consider that hard time. You know what I mean? Because I didn't let it be hard time. Like I said earlier, You cannot control anything that's going on in the streets. Don't even fool yourself thinking you can. You can't. So don't stress yourself out. You know, that phone, that stress box, that's what we call it, the stress box. That's the phone. That's sometimes your worst enemy. You know what I mean? Because you get a lot of guys that get on that phone and then they're yelling at their mom, yelling at their old lady, yelling at their dad, yelling at their sister, yelling at their brother, yelling at their kids, yelling at whoever that's on the other line to do this, do that. And they're lucky that the person's still there listening and doing what they're asking them because they're hella disrespectful. You know what I mean? And usually when they're asking for stuff like that, it's usually, you know, they're up to no good. You know what I'm saying? It's not just usually just for make sure the money lands in time for them to go on their draw at the store. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, you got guys that stress off on the phone. You got guys that stress off on letters. You got guys that just stress off everything, their time, you know, everything. Man, I've seen guys come in with a little rinky-dink 2-year sentence with half and bitch and complain to lifers every day about they got 2 years. You know what I mean? This was the first time, but it was like they did something stupid. They went to go do a beer run, and then when the store clerk came out, this dumbass kid makes a stupid statement about being a skinhead or something. He's not no skinhead. And then when the store clerk heard that, now they became scared. So when they say the officer asked them in the, you know, questioning part of the report, what to put down in the report, they say, you know, were you scared at any time? Yes. He said he was a skinhead and he was going to whatever. And boom, that automatically sent him to prison. And he had never been in trouble. You know what I mean? And now he's walking around barely 22 years old, already going bald on the front because he's so stressed out, scratching the top of his head while he's walking around the day room during chow feeding, because that was an orientation building. So I had a job there too, passing out the trays for those that were on orientation and that were CTQ, which is confined to quarters. You know what I mean? And these lifers, there were some cool, easygoing lifers that, you know, they thought everything was funny, but there was a lot of them there that were older guys that got struck out, you know, on some bogus shit that struck them out, gave them 25 to life, and they just hated the world. You know what I mean? And now you got this 20-year-old kid bitching and complaining about 2 years with half. You know what I mean? And one of the old boys, he ended up cracking him with his cane. And he lost his cane for doing that, for using it as a weapon. County Mayo is going to be a shock culture in Cork. Cork's a shithole. What is Cork? Oh, Cook County? I don't know. It's on my bucket list. County Cork needs a trip to Dublin. So you guys are over the pond. You guys are. Well, I know Buffalo Billy is. I don't want to hear it. The baddest jailhouse gangsters. Oh man, come on. That's another dumbass idiot, man. Boy, that dude. I can't even. All these stories you got about jail and prison, and he couldn't tell you one institution he been to. And then he, you know, gets arrested and runs right back out, and the fat officer can't get him, and he jumps into the little river and takes the river boat down. Underwater hole. Come on. Come on, man. Oh, fuck. It's crazy. It's going to be a culture shock. Court. I just had one of my older homeboys. He just got out. He just got out the pen. He's been down since 1981. He just got out. 42 years. And when I was in there with him, he used to tell me, I don't even want to go home. He goes, my parents died. He goes, my wife divorced me. I don't got nothing out there. My kids are fuck ups, you know. And I'm like, yeah, but you got grandkids out there. And he started doing good. You know, he started doing right, and he did whatever the parole board told him to do, because they'll look at your file and, you know, they'll see what type of write ups you might have, or what type of what do you call those 128Gs, which are like, they're not write ups, but they don't never disappear out your file. They're like chronos. They got, you know, and they stay in your file. So, but he they end up telling them like, get your GED, go do an anger management class, do a SAP program class, and then they got all these new self-help groups up in there, and they're offering people now. When I was in there last time, you can earn 6 weeks a year off of your out date. And just before I got out, they were in the presidential election, matter of fact, of 2016. They passed this new law. I can't think of what it's called right now. But California Department of Correction had to figure out how to insert it and and implement it. And so just before I went home in 2017, they changed it from 6 weeks a year to 12 weeks a year. You can get knocked off your out date. Okay, you're in Philly. Big Lou on his high horse. What does Billy know? Take it down a peg. That I don't know if if you seen that guy. His last name Genovese. I think it's Joe. Is it Joey Genovese? Genovese, and he's a breeder of bullies. I was in contact with him for a while. I was looking at his dogs before I got my first one. But he didn't have. He was more of a standard. He had standards, pocket bullies. I wanted the XLs. I like XLs, extra large. And then my male, he's a double XL. Imagine claiming to be a badass mofo, but threw you, Cody, under the bus. It wasn't me, sir, detective. I was bullied into robbing the computers. Wow, Mr. Big over here. Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of that guy, Maureen. His last name is Genovese. And he's in Philly. Because I remember him telling me, I thought he was in New York, and then he's like, "Nah, I'm in Philly." And he's got some nice dogs though, which is just not I like bigger ones. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to think. There's a couple breeders out there in Philadelphia. But majority of the what class do you got? When it comes to the XLs, in my opinion, California's top. Then you got Texas. Florida got some good ones over there. Let's see where else. New York's got some nice ones. Nah, oh Big Lou, Jimmy Calandra, Lil Simp is acting hard. Oh wow, Mr. Big over here. Where's Mr. Big? Yeah, what is that noise, man? It might be the battery's going low. Let me see. I got something plugged in the battery charging. Let me disconnect it real quick. Well, you know what? Let me just sound off on this one because I've only been on 2 hours. But I will be having on Mikey Jr. Mikey D. Leonardo Jr. was here earlier, and I spoke to him on. I think I spoke to him. I think it was last Friday. We want to do something talk some boxing, some more, and because he's up on the boxing scene real well, and since the last time we've done any boxing videos, they've had a lot of good fights and a lot more coming up. You know what I mean? It seems like boxing just turned around for the better, in that second part of last year, and we got a lot of good fights. Big Lou, sing a little Soy Boricua, Bobby Valentin. Oh yeah, you remember that one? I did that little short that one time. Yeah, Bobby Valentin. Bobby Valentin's bad. He plays the bajo. That means you know what it means, but People don't know when you hear the bajo. When people say they play the bajo in Spanish, that means the bass. But that's the guitar. The one is looks like a guitar. You hold like a guitar. That's the bass. But then if you hear them say they say the alta or the alt, well, I think it's alto. That means the stand-up bass. Boom, 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 like Oscar de Leon plays. Yeah, it's matter of fact, I've seen a couple new music channels pop up in the last few days, but they don't have no videos or nothing. It's just all shorts. But you by far had the best ones I've ever seen. I've never seen Mikey had like everything from Willie Colon. Who else you had on there? You have like Sonora Ponceña? I remember you had a lot. You had a wide variety of different ones. Should have never got rid of it. We spoke about breeders before. My sis breeds. She's in Florida. I have a half standard, half pocket champion blood. I will send Carlos the pick, and he can forward to you. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, half standard, half pocket. My son's dog is she's a standard. Um, should have never got rid of it. Yeah, I got a lot of work doing that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't even know how to do. I don't know how to do any of that. Like I still need a intro for my this channel. Intro, like outro, like little 10 seconds or something, or some music or something. You know what I mean? Or Mikey got a hell of a collection. Yeah, and that's how it was. That's how it was. And like my pop's pad when I used to go visit him when I was a little kid. Yeah, man, there was albums everywhere. And I remember seeing all the Fonny All Star albums and all the Willie Colon albums that my dad had, and then all the um he also my dad was into Latin jazz a lot, so he had Gato Barbieri and what's his name Luis Casca and Chepito Arias, and you know what I mean, all them dudes. They're like Gato Barbieri is Brazilian. Chepito Arias is Nicaraguense, and I forgot the other name I said now. But they played a lot with like Malo and uh, Santana. You know what I mean? But then you got Jorge Santana live at Yankee Stadium on the live version of the El Raton with Cheo Feliciano, which is that version is that's my favorite song, old school song. And then you see the Tito Puente albums, the Cal Jader albums, right? The Dizzy Gillespie's, and you see the John Coltrane, Miles Davis, you know what I mean? Herbie Hancock, Herbie Mann, you know what I mean? That was all the jazz, and you see all the soul, the OJs, the main ingredients, all that shit, man. It's just that's how our households be. Frankie Ruiz all day. Frankie Ruiz said, what did he say that one time? He said, what did he say? Yo soy la rueda. No, he said, what did he say? Yo soy el camino. I can't remember how that song goes. La Rueda, I think it's called. And then, do you remember Frankie Ruiz when he sang for La Solucion? That's when I think when he first came out. They got some bad songs on there. That's crazy too. Frankie Ruiz, he died hella young. He wasn't even 40 years old. He was barely gonna be 40 years old when he died. 39 years old, I think, when he died. And Hector was only like 45 when he passed. That's just crazy, man. A lot of people, a lot of them talent. That's how he started. What with Solution? Yeah, Frankie Ruiz started with Solution, and then Lalo started with Eddie Palmieri. I think Tito Roja, I think he started with somebody too. Yeah, that's all like because I remember seeing Lottie Harlow one time talking about that, and he was like, he was talking about how the salsa. Because I watched one time in the pen, I watched this thing on PBS, and it was about salsa, Latin music and stuff. And first it started like with the mambo and the the different songs that I mean the different version, the different styles of music back then. I think what was it? They had the mambo, they had the watu boogaloo, they had the what's that other one? I think it's called cha 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 cha. I think no, is it cha cha cha? No, I think that's a dance. But anyways, eventually they get to salsa and Fania, and they're talking about Jerry Masucci, the dude who used to be a cop, and then he's the one, the founder of Fania, and then Johnny Pacheco. They had their, uh, he had some money involved in that. I'm pretty sure too. But I remember Larry Harlow's talking. And he's talking about like how it changed in like 84, 85. It might have been 86. I don't know. Sometime right there in the 80s. And that's how it changed, and it became like salsa romantica. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no more. Because when I think of the Fania and any of them groups from the 70s, that's gangster shit to me. You know what I mean? Straight up. Them motherfuckers go on stage. Just before they go on stage, they take off their big ass trench coat off. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker take their hat off, their froze all picked out. You know what I'm saying? Straight gangsters, boy. You know what I mean? I'm gonna start making more videos again. I got 2,200 in 2 months from those videos. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's what's up. Fania All Stars. That was a lot of people don't even know. Like when you say Fania, they just think Fania, the record label. But yeah, but no, I'm talking about the All Stars, homie. Every year they'd be live somewhere. You know what I'm saying? They would take everybody that was from their label, and they put this ensemble together of badass MoFos. You know what I'm saying? And the brass section, the horns, from the piano player to the all the singers. They had all the top singers, besides whoever Gran Combo had, yeah, Cheo Feliciano, Ismael Miranda, they had Miranda, Quintana, they had Santito Colon, who else sang back then? Justo Betancourt, you know what I mean? Hector, of course, Celia. I know I'm missing a couple more. Uh, there's a couple more singers I'm missing. Oh, Alberto Santiago, that was Ray Barreto's singer, right? Uh, or Ruben Blades. You know what I mean? I remember that one live at the Cheetah Symphony Sid. He starts calling everybody out. He's introducing the band. Shit, I know that shit by heart. Barry Rogers, Larry Spencer, Reynaldo Jorge. Who else was there? Hector Sazuela. You know what I mean? That's my shit. If I could decide, if I can have a choice about things, I'm straight salsa. I don't. You know what I mean? Willie Colon, South Bronx. I think Willie Colon's a cop, huh? He's a cop now. Well, he's been a cop, and I think he might be retired now because now he's close to 70 years old. But or he's in his 70s. I think he's born in 1950, so he's what 73. Uh, he's been like he was a lieutenant in the police department, and I'm pretty sure NYPD because he had a white shirt. So I don't know. Lieutenants wear white shirts too. I know the captains do. Yeah, Bobby Valentin is bad too. And then Bobby Valentin, he used to have who used to sing for him. He had Marvin Santiago used to sing for him, and what's the name? Cano Estrimera, the albino. Who has his own channel? Willie Colon has his own channel. And all them dudes from back then too, like they're all gone.
I mean, Willie's alive. Ismael Miranda's alive. Those they were like the two youngest ones. Uh, Cheo died. Ray Barreto died. Santito Colon died. Fidel Conde died. Johnny Pacheco died a couple years ago. Um, I think Nicky Marero's still alive. Orestes Vilato, he was the original timbalero. Um, Matter of fact, Willie Colon's timbalero, his name is the same as mine, first last name. He's over here now in San Francisco. He's been over here for years. I think the name of his group is Mazacote, I think it's called. Luis Romero and Mazacote. Um, I like a lot too. They're more newer, but they've been around. They're OGs at it. They're not as old as the Fania guys, but Spanish Harlem Orchestra. I like those dudes. Spanish Harlem Orchestra. I like Jimmy. Or Jimmy Bosch plays with them too, but I like Jimmy Bosch. Uh, I think Eddie Palmieri's and he's getting up there too, and he's still playing. I'm not sure if Willie Rosario's alive still. I'm not sure about that one. Willie Colon, Boy on the Team. And then remember, like I was bringing up the live at the Cheetah Club. Johnny Pacheco announces everybody, right? First it's Symphony Sid, and then Johnny Pacheco announces everybody. And he almost goofs, right? He goes, "Oh my God, I almost goofed," and he forgot to announce Bobby Valentin at the end. He goes, "Oh my God, I almost goofed, Bobby Valentin." He goes, "Our beautiful arranger." Da da da. Man, that's the shit, boy. If I'm pissed off, really, like if I'm really heated, and I put some salsa on, it calms me down immediately. Anything with Hector brings in a lot of views. Yeah. Machete. Con la machete en la mano. Vaya. They say that in that song too. Bobby Valentin at the end. What it do, Big Lou? I send my respects and food. Igualmente, right back at you. Boomerang. Uh yeah, Hector is like, you know what I mean? Forget about it. He's just like, boom, that's the man. You know what I'm saying? He's he's the one. They didn't call him cantante de los cantantes for nothing. Singer of singers for nothing. You know what I mean? He was bad. Yeah, Imai Rivera. Yeah, Equa. Hey, he died too, hella young. Well, no, he wasn't hella young, but he died earlier than he should have. But that fucking shit was no joke, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, they got some badass legends, man. And I be telling motherfuckers too. I said, man, this shit here what I fuck with. I go, this shit was mainstream, dude, in Germany, Japan, France. You know what I'm saying? You had these motherfuckers, you had these Ricans in the military everywhere. They brought this shit to those places. Why do you think nowadays you got bands from France that they sing in French, but they're salsa music? Damn, Daisy, you hear that shit? She's snoring like crazy. Hector's like Elton, John Lennon, or Elvis in that status level. Yeah, Michael Jackson too. I think he's still in there. Michael Jackson's up there with that too now, I believe. Uh, okay, I got that, Carlos. Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, yeah, like I said, you talk to motherfuckers that were in the military, bro, they're always gonna remember some Puerto Ricans they were with. It just, you know what I mean? It just is what it is. It's the same military, you know what I mean? And just like in New York, you always gonna remember, New York, New Jersey, Ricans always gonna be remembered by, oh yeah, I remember the Colon family over there, and 110th and Fifth Avenue, you know what I'm saying, and Barrio, or whatever the last name is, you know what I'm saying. It's just, and the same thing, and the Italians obviously the same thing, you know what I'm saying. Italians, Puerto Ricans are real similar, like the family structure is similar, you know what I mean. It's real similar, like even to the way that when I say Puerto Rican, I mean Latinos. But I'm just saying Puerto Rican because that's what I am. But like the kids, the mama had another kid, and one of her kids had a baby, and they're only months apart, or the baby's older than the aunt or the uncle. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of that. Frank Sinatra. Yeah, and they were talking about him too the other night on Craig's channel. Him and Jimmy, what is it, Demonica? And they were like, because I heard too when they asked Sonny Francis if he knew Sinatra, he goes, "You said that wrong." He goes, "Did he know me?" You know, I guess a lot of the guys didn't really like him. You know, I don't know. I heard different people say that, you know, for whatever reason, but he's got some cool songs, especially the one, you know, all them old school songs. He sure had you know, he had a style. You know, when you heard him sing, you knew that was Sinatra. You know what I mean? You know, just like Dean Martin had his own sound, and Perry Como had his own sound, and you know, I'm trying to think of a couple of the other guys I know. Frankie Valli, he got his own sound. You know what I mean? So, yeah, exactly. I tell motherfuckers this all the time. Italians are the original Latinos. You know, they're the originals. You know, and over there in Rome, they speak Latin. You know what I'm saying? Rome's in Italy. You know what I mean? So, yeah, a lot of people. It's funny, man, because I remember somebody made a dumb comment one time. You know, the guy was, you know, Italian and Native American, and they said something stupid that he ain't even Latino, and that's when I hit him with, dude, he's what do you mean he's not? He's part of his part of his ancestry is original Latino. You know, that's why I say, like, I say it like this sometimes because I want people to understand the Sicilians and Italians were the original brown menace. You know what I'm saying? When they were coming over, you know, like how some of the one of these guys are farting. Oh my God. Whew. When they were coming over back in like 1880, 1880 up and through, 1910, 1920, they got treated like shit, man. People don't know that, the ones that don't know, they got treated like shit, and they were looked at differently. They weren't looked like, oh, they're also from Europe. No, they were looked at differently. They had dark hair, darker skin. It wasn't that pale look. It was more, more like the, I don't know, I guess you could say olive color, or I hear people say different things, apricot color, olive color, just more tint to them, The Latin language started in the 9th century in Italy. Yeah, I know. I didn't know the 9th century, but I know Italy, Rome and all those, So a lot of people don't know. They have no clue. They usually make comments and things like that off of nothing more than feelings. You know what I mean? I always rather learn about things, what I mean, especially heritage, stuff like that. I find real interesting, you know what I mean? And it's just it's interesting to know. It's interesting to learn about people, different people, And then the other thing about that is you start learning, you start noticing when you start having an open mind and not so simple-minded about people, and being try to close off that line of communication with different people. You start finding out that you guys are more similar than different. You know what I'm saying? CB shenanigans. Yeah, I'm all right, man. How you doing tonight? Appreciate you stopping, swinging on by. This is my first live stream in like probably 7 or 8 months, I think. But I cut a pre-recorded video earlier, and that was my first one in about 5 months. So I'm hoping to get back into swinging things. I need like another 850 watch hours, though. That's the only thing about that. I started looking into YouTube a little bit, and your analytics, your numbers start changing per 365 days. So if I ain't been on in 5 months, I ain't did no videos, even though I wasn't, because I got over 2,000 subscribers, but my subscribers are not translating, but they're not converting into views. You know what I mean? Because they see you on a short, and then they watch your short. You might get a couple times, they watch it maybe, and then they sub to you, but they don't probably hit the notification bell for all You know what I mean? Or if they did, they're not going and watching your videos. You know, so I'm facing that obstacle right now. Well, it was just before I stopped making videos. But I ain't tripping. I just go, you know, take care, you know, take it on like I was before. And if it happens, it happens. It's not like something I'm gonna be like, oh my God, you know, it's 3 months went by and I still ain't, you know, I'm not gonna be tripping like that. You know what I mean? I more appreciate just having a good topic and a good flow of conversation going. You know what I mean? Uh, the Latin language. Okay, I read that. Yeah, doing good. Yeah, glad to see you live stream. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I dropped a little short the other day of a Mustang. Right? I don't know what year it was. It says 5.0 on it. So I mean, I don't know what year it is, but it's not older than probably like a 2015. But I tripped out because I seen the 5.0 molding on there, and I haven't seen that in a long time, right? Because the last time I noticed, you know, Mustangs, my brother had bought like a '07, and you know those are the smaller ones, you know, and 6-cylinder, you know what I mean? And this one says 5.0. But then if you take it back to the Mustangs from like 94, 93, 95, they weren't 5.0s either, but I believe they were 4.6s. If I remember correctly, you know what I mean? But they still didn't have a molding saying 4.6, not that I remember. And, you know, like I said, the body style of this Mustang, it was a lot bigger looking and it stood out to me and I liked it. So I just recorded for like 8 seconds, dude backing out, and then he took off. And I'm getting all these stupid ass comments like that Mustang video got 3,500. The one I dropped, that Mustang video got 3,500 views. The one I dropped, oh, does it? Damn. But you know, I started getting people were like, oh, what is there to look at? Oh yeah, it does got 3,500 views. Damn. And then that little clip I put a chat, that it got over 2,000 views. And that's a trip. 2,209 subscribers out of it. Damn, I didn't know it had that. Had 3,600 views, 7 subscribers off that. But yeah, the people were like, oh, what am I looking at? Dude, it looks like a blow dry stock. And it's like, dang, had nothing to do with none of that shit. LOL. Yeah, them 4.6 aren't that great. Yeah, I remember one time. I almost traded. I had a '68 Cougar, and I almost traded it for a '95 or '96 Mustang convertible, 4.6. And I'm glad I didn't trade it. That Cougar, man, was clean, man. Then short videos definitely can rack up the views. Yeah, they rack up the views, and they rack up your subscribers too. But like I said, if they don't, you know, if they just sub to your channel, but they don't like hit the notification bell and for all that stuff, you know, or even come, you know, look at any of your videos, it doesn't help. But, you know, when you just start, you know, because all this stuff is off of algorithm, you know, and when you start saying certain things in your videos, and then not only that, I mean, there's all kinds of different ways how, you know, my videos could, or any videos could get on somebody's feed, you know, because of something else they watch that might be similar or something, or people that are subscribed to that channel is also subscribed to that channel, or whatever it might be, or certain words, or, you know, obviously hashtags, you know what I mean? You know, your hashtags, you know, whatever you're talking about. And if it's something that's like hot in you know, in the trending and things like that, people are going to be searching it. And, you know, what'll happen is the things that were the last things that were put up and the hashtag, whatever that is that they're looking up, then those videos will be popping up. You know what I mean? So you have to start looking at your analytics, and you know, I still don't get it all the way, but you know, I'm getting some of it. You know what I mean? But I'm thinking the next couple of days I got some things. I think I got some things mapped out, mob stuff that I'm gonna talk about. Just not real long videos, maybe like 10 to 20 minute videos on maybe some hypothetical things. Like, you know, what would have happened if this guy didn't go to prison and he ended up being on the street still? Or what happens if this guy didn't die when he did? You know, would that have changed anything? And, you know, things like that. You know, was it a mistake putting this guy in as a you know, high ranking member to make, you know, big decisions on things, you know what I mean? And, you know, certain things like that. Uh, but yeah, I gotta use the bathroom. I don't know what this beeping is. I gotta find out what this beeping is. But I appreciate everybody that stopped in tonight. I'm very satisfied with my first live stream back in a long while in this new year of 2024. You know what I'm saying? I told myself, and you know, let me try to get back in the swing of things, especially since it's a new year now. You know, so I appreciate you, CB, Shenanigans, Mikey, Machete, Nelson, Carlos, Marine, Buffalo Billy, Go Rowdy outside, Top Secret Boy, Terror Squad. Don't forget it. You know, you heard? Facts. Let's see who else we got. I gotta go way up to find somebody. Soundhole Lifer, Michael D. Leonardo Jr. Let's see. Somebody dropping comments still on there. Sven Larson, Mr. Goyo, Muggsy Siegel, Cinnamon Girl, Yankees for Life, Edwin Jimenez, Gordo, Lucky Loco, Steve Tortola, Claudio Perry, Rastafu. Oh, my bad. I didn't even tell Rastafu what's up. I just seen him now. I just seen his name in there now. Huh. That ain't good. Lou? What's wrong with you, Big Lou, man? I think I got everybody now. Let me see. Maybe one more. Oh, Bella. Oh, I didn't say what's up to Bella either. Bella Mia, my Shih Tzu print. My bad. My bad. Italians were our own breed. Italians were our own breed. Italians were our own breed. Not many PR on the West Coast. No, that's not true. Not like over there. Obviously, you know what I mean. Not like New York. There's more Boricuas in New York than in Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? Easy. You know the island only what? It's only like 4 million people. You know what I mean? You got yeah, I think I covered everybody. Yeah, Puerto Rico is small, man. You know, 4 million people, and then you got all the cities in. You know, you got upstate, Rochester, Buffalo. You know, Syracuse. I'm pretty sure there's Ricans all up there too. I know Buffalo. They're in Rochester. I'm pretty sure. You know, other spots, Albany. You know, then you got the Jersey cities. You know, the Mass cities. You got the Maryland cities. You got Pennsylvania cities. You know, Chicago's got a bunch of Puerto Ricans. That's the second biggest Puerto Rican parade is in Chicago. You know what I mean? So they you know, but there's a lot of over here. So LA, there's quite a bit. San Diego, there's quite a bit. Bakersfield, there's a little bit. Fresno is a little bit, and then the rest, everybody's in the Bay. Oakland, Hayward, Decoto, there's a ton. That's why I'm telling people that like a lot of people, like if they didn't know the people and they met people like in prison, they would find out that these dudes are Puerto Rican. They're not Mexican, or they're half. You know, like I said, we've been putting it down for this movement over here and this cause in Northern California since the beginning of time. You know, the organization I'm not going to say the organization's name, right? Because I don't do that, but it had the word Mexican in Spanish, Mexicana, at the end of it. And the general, who was the sole general of the organization, was Puerto Rican. He took that Mexican name off because he was a member. Not only was he a member, he was the general. And then he had 2 blood brothers that were members. And there was a couple other Puerto Ricans that were members. And then we had manzanas. They used to call him apples because he was from New York. His name was Luis Colon. He's from New York, came over here. I don't know where he came when he came over here. I heard that he went to Salinas and then got caught up and went to prison. And then he, you know, so that movie American Me, where they stab him at the end and throw him off, that's not the true thing that happened there. That was, yes, he got stabbed up and thrown off, but it wasn't his own people that did it. It was one of the guys was Manzanas Colon, Puerto Rican dude from New York. And they used to call him manzanas, which means apples in Spanish. Well, you know that, Mikey. But if anybody don't know, manzanas means apples. Manzanitas, they used to call them little apples, and you know, apples. The big apple. La manzana grande, that's the big apple, New York. You know what I mean? And you know, dude was, you know, like I said, he was the first sole general. And you know, like I said, we've been putting it down since the beginning of time over here with this shit. You know, so a lot of people don't know. If they don't know, they don't know because they don't know. You know what I mean? Meaning they just don't fucking know. Meaning they don't know. They're not like, you know, they're not with it. You know, they're not from, you know, here or with the biz like that. You know what I'm saying? Because being from Northern Cali, you know, it's never been your bloodline, what your bloodline is. You know what I mean? It's where your heart's at. So if you believe in this movement, you believe in this cause, and you're Italian, no problem. You're Portuguese, no problem. You're Arabic, no problem. You're Afghani, no problem. If you're, you know, Persian, no problem. You know what I'm saying? I met homeboys from all those nationalities. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of homeboys that are Italian too, that are part Italian, part Mexican. You know, they have the last name like I remember Chuck Falsetta. His last name was. I remember Stagey. His last name was Stagi. Look, big old whip, big old mustache. We call it a brush, right? Or brocha in Spanish slang. And he looked straight Mexican, big old, like I said, whip. But his last name was Stagey, straight Italian. You know what I mean? I got a cousin. My cousin, he just lived down the street. He was in the movie The Principal. I'll post that picture of him again one of these days. And then I have another cousin that was in the movie Blood and Blood Out. And he was actually in custody when they did that one. But my other cousin that was in Principal, his last name is Borelli. Borrelli. Borelli. Robert too. Just like that one dude that does little interviews sometimes. And he goes by Robert Borelli. I don't think that's his real. I think he's got an Irish name, his real name. Yeah, well, that's my cousin's name. And when he looked up and he's straight Puerto Rican, but somewhere down the line, before they got to Puerto Rico, it came from an area in Sicily that I believe is called Borelli too. You know, because you know a lot of the peoples would take the name of the I don't know if they call it village or little towns or what, but you know what I mean. My cousin's straight Rican. He's straight Puerto Rican, but his last name is Borelli. Like, you know, somewhere way back they came from Sicily. You know what I mean? He's already looked into that. You know what I mean? So, you know. Because I be telling people too, man, it's like, you know, everybody thinks, you know, you come from these Spanish countries that it was the Spaniards, you know, which is partly, you know, majority true. Yeah, the Spaniards were the ones that were mainly, you know, in control of a lot of that. They were big doing it. But no, you had English on the water. You had Irish, Scottish. You had the Italians, the Sicilians, the Portuguese. All of them were on the water. They were all landing in Puerto Rico because I got family with Portuguese last names, and they're from the island. You know what I mean? So it's you know, you got to look into things, man. You know, everybody. You know, a lot of problem is a lot of times people hear shit and they just run with it. You know, they take it for gold. They take it for gospel and run with it as their truth. You know what I mean? When you got to look into that stuff. That's why I don't even trip on doing like a DNA test because I already know what they're going to tell me. Oh yeah, you're mixed with European. And you know, I already know that. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't no thing but a chicken wing. You know what I mean? But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and tap out because I gotta use the bathroom and I gotta take these guys out. These guys, one of these, I don't know which one it is, but they're farting and it smells bad. I had to change their food. 4 stores I went to, and the food that I normally feed them, they didn't have it. So what I had to do was get and it's the same brand too, but it's a different. It has lamb with rice. And so what I did was I had the lamb food, and I didn't have enough, because what you're supposed to do is when you're gonna mix like that, you got to go like 70% of the food you're feeding, that the normal food, and put about 30% of whatever the new food is gonna be. Give it to them for like 2-3 days, and then you can go 50-50 for another 2 or 3 days, and then you flop it and you go 30 of the old food, 70 of the new food for a couple of days, and then you go 100% of the new food. I wasn't able to do that. I didn't have enough food of the old food, so they started farting and did it. Oh man, those sensitive ass bulls. That's why I tell people, these guys ain't pit bulls, man. Pit bulls didn't trip like that. These are bullies. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's funny. But all right, everybody. I know you guys are out east, so it's already what, 11. Okay, not real late, but late enough. Back to work. I'm pretty sure some of you guys got to work tomorrow. So yeah, hit that like, subscribe button, everybody, before you're on your way out, if you haven't already. And like my hermano said right here, be easy, everybody. And like CB Shenanigans said, y'all have a good one now. Y'all come back, you hear? All right, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming on in, man, and supporting the channel. Appreciate it. Good night, huh?